Hello everyone and welcome back. I hope you're doing well. So in this video I'm going to be giving book recommendations for people who are trying to get started with practicing and performing magic. Now these books are more beginner friendly. This is for people who are very new, who don't have a spiritual practice and who don't really know where to start, who might feel overwhelmed about their magic practices and even the kind of magic they want to do, who they want to devote themselves to, and where they hope to go on their personal journey as a practitioner of magic. The first book I have here is by Oberon Zell Ravenheart. It is called the Grimoire for the Apprentice Wizard. This is what it looks like. I've had this book a really long time. It's pretty weathered, it's pretty worn. I've had it for so many years. Now, my favorite thing about this book is that it has a lot of pictures, and I love pictures. But this book is amazing for a beginner because it goes over what feels like almost every kind of magic you can think of. Some of it, most of it, is kind of skimming over the surface of a lot of these, but it's enough information to give you a really good grasp of the basis of each one of these different spiritual paradigms. It goes into a lot of the history of a lot of these occult traditions, like Norse paganism, Wicca. There's a chapter for people who are interested in the left-hand path. It goes over a lot of the history of witchcraft and occult themes. It talks about different magical orders. It talks about how to perform a lot of different kinds of magic. It talks about color correspondences. It has a lot of correspondences for colors, plants, animals. There's sections for dream interpretation. This is kind of like a complete idiot's guide to anything and everything occult related. It is one of my favorite books. I haven't opened it in a long time because it's just so old and I've gotten so many new books, but it's a treasure to me. And if you are totally a novice and a total neophyte to magic in general, this is a great place to start. This book is also a bit whimsical. It has a kind of like a whimsical vibe. Like the person who's reading to you the book views themselves as like a Merlin role player or something, but don't let that dissuade you. This book is a wealth of information, and it taught me about a lot of paradigms and a lot of magical practices and types of magic that allowed me to do further research and go down other rabbit holes on my own time. So highly recommend this if you are just starting out with magic, because there's just so much information. This next book is called The Complete Illustrated Encyclopedia of Witchcraft and Practical Magic. And I don't know who it's by. It doesn't really say. Susan Greenwood. It's a kind of a small book, but it's extremely thick and it's in full color. It's almost like the first book I just told you about, but this one is filled with pictures, and more than just pictures, it has so many. There's spells in here, there are rituals in here, there's so many sections about so many different things. This one is just as valuable to a beginner, but odds are, even if you are a bit more seasoned, there's going to be information in here that you weren't really that familiar with. It talks about different world traditions and magic from across the world. It is truly an encyclopedia in every sense of the word, and I absolutely recommend this one. This one's really great. There's so many. It talks about like the witch hunts in every different country. It's full of historic information. It's just a really, really good book, and one of my favorites in my collection, honestly. The next book is this one. It's called High Magic by Frater V.D. See, can you see that? And this one is more than anything having to do with ceremonial magic. I found this one to be the most practical. It tells you how to do all the major ceremonial magic rituals. It also has a lot of information about the spiritual significance of the temple, the robe, the athame, but from a more, I don't want to say scholarly perspective, but it feels like the voice of the book feels more like an older gentleman who is highly educated, who is teaching a class on ceremonial magic. That's kind of more the vibe this one gives. And it's a really good book, especially if you're interested in ceremonial magic, like the lesser banishing rituals, or the pentagram or the hexagram. It's just really good for that reason. But I put it as a beginner because it goes into great detail, a lot of beginner concepts and a lot of things that are just that we wouldn't think twice about, but things that a beginner wouldn't have the background knowledge about. So this book, High Magick, and there is a High Magick volume 2, but I'm just talking about the first one, and it is also filled with a lot of really good information, honestly. And you'll like it. If you're interested in ceremonial magic at all, you will like this one. The next book I want to talk about is Rebel Witch by Kellyanne Maddox. She's one of my favorite YouTubers of all time. Her channel is amazing. And honestly, when I watch her videos, it's like listening to like an old friend. I don't know. I know that sounds weird, but she just is so genuine, and I feel like I've learned so much about myself by listening to her talk on her channel. She has a lot of magical videos about servitors and chaos magic and things like that. But when she released this, I was really pleasantly shocked and pleasantly surprised. This book is amazing. She really covers kind of all aspects and facets of magic and the occult in a general way. It's very easy to read. Her writing style is very easy. It does not feel like she uses it feels almost more conversational. Whereas the book I just talked about feels more like I'm listening to someone who's more, it feels like it's a more educational setting. This book feels more like a casual setting. It feels like a conversation with a friend who is just very knowledgeable. And this book goes over so many different kinds of things in regards to magic. And my favorite thing about this book is that it is so open-minded about all these different paradigms and systems and types of magic, because her writing feels very, very heavily influenced by chaos magic. And so it's very open-minded, it's very creative, and a lot of her approaches to certain types of magic and rituals feels a little bit outside of the box for me, which I absolutely adore, because I feel like someone who doesn't really adhere to strict guidelines when it comes to my own practices. So when I read this, it kind of felt like it gave me permission to be more creative and more going with the flow with my spiritual practices. This book goes over a lot of different kinds of magic, a lot of different types of spell work and ritual, and she tells you how to work a lot of different kinds of magic. And this is one of my prized books in my collection. I don't know if it's for everyone, but I just found it to be extremely refreshing. Really, really good book. The next book I want to talk about is called Astral Dynamics, and it's by Robert Bruce, if I'm not mistaken. This is a hefty book, and the whole book is about astral projection, astral travel, OBEs, out-of-body experiences, the astral plane. This man is a fountain of knowledge when it comes to this topic. He teaches you how to astral project. He teaches you all about the astral plane, the different levels of it. This book does not feel like it comes from the perspective of an occultist or a magic practitioner. This just feels like a regular person who has put in countless hours into perfecting the skill that is astral projection, and him telling you about his experiences with astral wildlife, his experiences with negative beings on the astral plane and how he protected himself from them, creating weapons on the astral plane, his different tips and tricks to help induce an out-of-body experience. It is a lot of information. It is a hefty book, like I said, but if you are a beginner and this is something that is highly interesting to you, I highly recommend Astral Dynamics by Robert Bruce. I have a lot more books, but the last book for this one is the Encyclopedia of Mystics, Saints, and Sages by Judica Illes. This is also a really big book. This book is amazing. If you're interested in saint work of any kind, folk saints, Catholic saints, saint work, this is the book. This has so much information. It has the name of the saint, their offerings, their feast days, what they look like, their iconography, their sacred sites, their attributes, their people that they usually have devoted to them, preferred offerings, days that are important to them, holidays surrounding them, what they stand for, their life history, if we know that about them, what part of the world they come from. They really covered, I couldn't even guess, hundreds of different people from across the world. And it's not just people. Santa Muerte is in this book as well. There are folk saints. Jesus Malverde is in this book. He was the one who actually led me to purchase this book. And it's really, really good. The book rubbed me the wrong way initially because of what they wrote about Santa Muerte. It wasn't much. It was just one single sentence saying that she was volatile, which I don't think is the case personally as a devotee of Santa Muerte. But other than that one sentence, this book is amazing, and it is a great reference book. And if you are somebody who works with multiple saints, or if you have a shop that is dedicated to the statues of different saints or anything like that, this is the one you want to get. Trust me. Alright, so those are the only books I really wanted to talk about in this particular video. I just know that if you are interested in any of these topics and you consider yourself a beginner, somebody who's just dabbling but wants to dive in further, I think any of these books would be very advantageous for you to own or to come into the possession of, especially if one or more of them catches your eye. This video is not sponsored. These are just some of my favorite books in my personal library I have here at my home. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I really look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Take care.